Well, here we go. Tropical storm Beryl. It's going to affect us. This is going to start tomorrow, Monday, and end probably Tuesday morning and into the afternoon from southwest to northeast. The main threat here in Arkansas, and this is very typical of any landfalling tropical system, which we haven't had in a few years here in Arkansas. It's usual. It's not unusual whatsoever. These things happen here. But what's typical as well is the rainfall aspect of this and the fact that we could see some isolated and brief tornadoes. I don't think that threat is overwhelming, but it's definitely there. So I think everybody in the state is going to be affected by this one way or the other. Some places will get a lot of rain and some places will not. And I've got everything you need to know with the newest information with that. So as we track Tropical Storm Beryl, it's a strong tropical storm, potentially becoming a minimal hurricane. But as we thought, once this came off the Yucatan, it's very difficult for a storm that was just so huge. It was a monster for it to get put back together. But it's trying, but it's running out of time. It still could become a minimal hurricane, but it's running out of time as it's going to be making landfall soon. Winds of 65 miles per hour. This is a Sunday evening. Moving to the north-northwest at about 12 miles per hour. So the track, very important because this means a lot with our forecast. And I'm going to try to explain everything from A to Z here. So with any landfalling tropical system, it's especially east of that track, east and north of the track, in that eastern quadrant, that you see the potential for those isolated tornadoes. Surrounding that track, and on this particular storm, on the north side of it, that's where you're going to see the heaviest of the rainfall. So while it looks like southeast Arkansas doesn't get the heaviest of the rainfall, according to the track, remember this can always be adjusted, and the heaviest rainfall will go where that track is. But eastern and southeastern Arkansas, that's the area of the state that's going to be exposed to that eastern quadrant where isolated tornadoes can occur. Now, in western and northern Arkansas, the main threat there will be heavy rain. With the ground so lush still and can absorb water, it's going to take a lot of water to cause flooding. And I think the ground's going to be able to absorb a lot of this with minimal runoff. But with a tropical system, you've got to watch these things because sometimes they will produce more than what the models are projecting. But I think it's going to be moving through at a rate that's going to help minimize that threat, but that's worth watching. Here's Forecast Track, the newest version. Monday morning, there will be scattered showers and thunderstorms, but we really don't get into this. You can see it coming up through the Arklatex. This is 7 o'clock on Monday. So heavy rain, East Texas coming into the Arklatex. And I think this model is doing a pretty good job showing how this unfolds. So the center comes up through the Arklatex. Remember that track right through here. North and east of that track, this is where you would expect to see, anything down here. And the placement of this won't be exact, so don't take it literally. But it will have the ability to produce brief tornadoes. They're usually on the lower end of the EF scale. Usually, they're brief, but and they don't stay on the ground, like I said, very long. But it's a possibility and it has to be watched. But an area of solid heavy rain moving through western and northern Arkansas by about 3 o'clock in the morning. See that track right through the northwest one half of the state. But right now it looks like the heaviest of the rain stays just to the west and north of the metro area. But I want to remind you, any change in that track, if it goes further east, this area of heavy rain will go over central Arkansas. If it goes further towards the west, that means central Arkansas hardly gets any rain. So southeastern and eastern Arkansas, it looks like you don't get much rain. You're going to get some, but remember that threat is with any of these isolated storms out there, you can get an isolated brief tornado, and there will be some showers. Look how fast it moves through. This is what I was talking about on the air last week, was that I was in a disagreement with the National Hurricane Center where I thought this thing would, once it gained latitude, it would speed up its forward movement. And by 10 o'clock on Tuesday morning, most of it's gone out of southern Arkansas with lingering rain up into northern Arkansas. That will persist for a while Tuesday, but be gone by Tuesday night. There's the risk for severe weather late Monday into Tuesday in the form of gusty winds and tornadoes, isolated. So you see that area of more concern in southern Arkansas, and I think even it's got most of the state in that risk area, but I would draw a line from I-30 and then up towards far northeast Arkansas, east of that line. late Monday and into early Tuesday for the risk for severe thunderstorms. Now, this is called the significant tornado parameter. This does not mean that in the areas that you're going to have a significant tornado. It's just one of the indices that we look at. But you see that kind of taking place in the oranges there in northern Louisiana. And so, yeah, they're in southern Arkansas. It's on the low end of the scale there. Southern Arkansas, and this is at 3 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday. We're going to be there. KARK, the Arkansas Storm Team, will be there watching that for you. But it's a low-end risk, but it's there. All right, the other facet of this is the rainfall. So with a landfalling tropical system, that's what you've always got to pay attention to. But the forward progress of this may limit the potential. And if these amounts are correct, I think the ground can absorb this without any significant flash flooding. But again, tropical systems are notorious for producing rainfall that can exceed what the model guidance is showing. So keep that in mind. And any change in the track will change this swath of heavy rainfall. Remember, if it's further towards the east, this heavy rain shield is further towards the east. And then again, further towards the west. If it goes further west, then it backs up further towards the west and the northwest. But this is pretty good agreement that the heaviest rain goes north and west of the Little Rock metro area. We still get rain out of it, but notice southeastern Arkansas, not as much rain. And then you got places in western and northern Arkansas getting 3, 4, 5 inches of rain. I think there could be some isolated higher amounts. So that's the European computer model. I think I got next here, and the contours didn't show up, but this is the graph. So this is the our in-house model showing lesser amounts in eastern Arkansas. But again, it's showing the higher amounts in northern and western Arkansas, 5, 7 inches. So you can get those, and there can be isolated instances of flash flooding. This is the official forecast from the Weather Prediction Center, and I agree with this. You can see there's a pretty substantial gradient between the lower rainfall amounts and the higher rainfall amounts. There's a legend at the top. You've got 1 inch here, 1 inch or less from Mississippi County through Jefferson County, Union County, south and east. Then you get north of that, and it's the central Arkansas, you're talking about 2 to 3 inches. And then western Arkansas, you're talking about 3, 4, 5 inches, maybe some isolated higher amounts. So just remember that can always change depending upon the track. And I know I probably have said that too many times, but it's the truth. That track means everything. The faster it moves, the lower the rainfall amount. So they're proportional. So again, if it slows down, the heavier rainfall amounts. It sticks around for a little bit longer. Again, KARK, we'll be following it for you, KARK.com. And of course, it will be our top story on KARK4 News at 10. And of course, tomorrow we'll be following that for you. It's going to move through rather rapidly for a tropical system. Just to reiterate that you got that flash flooding potential, yes, in western and northern Arkansas. Further east, the rainfall amounts are not as great, but that's the area you got to watch for those isolated brief tornadoes. And I think portions of the state will have a tornado watch coming up for Monday evening and into maybe early Tuesday morning. Beyond that, the tropics may calm down for a while, but we're putting moisture into the ground. And you put moisture into the ground, first of all, the humidity is going to go sky high, but that will also limit, for just a little while, limit the potential for the actual air temperature going up to 100, but that feels like temperature, will likely exceed it. I know I've talked way too much, 8 minutes and 34 seconds now. So I know I'm loaded with information. You can go back and watch this. And again, we absolutely always are here for you. We are here to earn your trust. Thank you for trusting us. And KARK Channel 4 will be there for you. And thank you for making us the #1 evening newscast. And thank you very much for following.